the college degree has long been the crown jewel of American higher education. But with student debt climbing and job markets shifting, many are asking, is the degree premium still the treasure it once was?
For most of the 20th century, a bachelor's degree was the closest thing America had to a guaranteed ticket. Not a good ticket, not a likely ticket, a guaranteed one. You borrowed the money, you showed up for 4 years, you walked across a stage, and the labor market rewarded you. The deal was simple and it held for decades. It doesn't hold anymore.
But over the past few years, unemployment among recent grads climbed above the rate for the broader population.
The numbers tell the story with the coldness of a medical examiner's report. In 2010, young college graduates enjoyed an unemployment rate 6 full percentage points below their non-college peers. By 2024, that gap had collapsed to a single point. Recent graduates between 22 and 27 now face a 5.8% unemployment rate, nearly double the rate for all college-educated workers across every age group. For essentially the first time in modern economic history, a fresh diploma makes you less likely to be employed than the average worker walking through the door.
New research finds now, for the first time ever, the unemployment rate among recent college graduates has exceeded the national unemployment rate.
This isn't a blip, it's a structural rupture. Here's what rarely gets said plainly. AI didn't just threaten white-collar jobs, it specifically devoured the bottom of the white-collar ladder.
Businesses are now replacing entry-level jobs with artificial intelligence.
The exact positions where new graduates used to plant their first foot. Investment banking reduced graduate hiring by more than 10% after the 2008 financial crisis, and it never really came back.
But as technology advances, banks need fewer human workers.
The legal sector followed. Youth employment in finance and insurance dropped 14% between 2010 and 2024 alone. The task that used to give a 23-year-old their first professional identity, analyzing documents, processing data, building preliminary reports, can now be completed by algorithms at 40% greater speed and a fraction of the cost. The entry-level job wasn't eliminated from the org chart. It was automated out of human hands entirely.
Companies are eliminating formative entry-level jobs, the work handed over to artificial intelligence.
What's left at the bottom of the ladder is thinner, more competitive, and increasingly hostile to the very people a bachelor's degree was supposed to serve. Finance needed fewer young analysts. Technology needed fewer junior developers. Law firms needed fewer paralegals carrying boxes of documents. And as $90 billion per year poured into global AI investment since 2022, the acceleration didn't wait for universities to catch up. It didn't ask permission. For a long time, universities controlled something precious: access. They were the gatekeepers of applied knowledge, the institutions that could certify competence in a way employers recognized and trusted. That monopoly is gone. Today, 78% of young people in developed economies engage with digital technology daily, regardless of academic background. Technical certifications take months, not years. Boot camps turn complete beginners into junior developers in 12 weeks. Online platforms deliver skills that once required institutional enrollment for the price of a Netflix subscription. The credential arms race that universities once dominated has fractured into a polyglot symphony of alternative pathways, and employers are listening to all of them.
I didn't have a degree, my future was extremely uncertain, and the program kind of provided a clear way where I would be able to pursue a career path or journey.
Nearly 45% of employers eliminated degree requirements for certain roles in just the last year, according to ZipRecruiter. Not quietly, not reluctantly, openly as a deliberate strategic shift. Skills-based hiring isn't a fringe experiment anymore. It's the direction the market is moving.
As students weigh the cost of college, some companies are now starting to target new employees based on skills rather than degrees.
The cultural shift in how young Americans perceive college cannot be separated from the financial reality underneath it. Student debt in the United States now exceeds $1.7 trillion.
Americans owe more than $1.7 trillion in student loans. That's more than credit cards and auto debt.
Enrollment dropped 5% between 2013 and 2022. That decline wasn't apathy, it was arithmetic. When starting salaries stagnate, when entry-level positions vanish, when the first job after graduation no longer arrives on schedule, the calculation that justified $50,000 or $150,000 in debt starts to look very different. Families that once asked which college now ask, should we bother? 2/3 of Americans already believe a stable, well-paying job is achievable with only a high school diploma.
2/3 of Americans believe that you can find a well-paying job, a stable job, with only a high school degree or equivalent and no college education.
Tellingly, in countries where higher education is subsidized or accessible, enrollment grew by more than 15% over the same decade. The degree hasn't lost its appeal. The price has simply outpaced the return. The bachelor's degree isn't dead. Declaring it dead would be its own kind of delusion. What's dead is the automatic privilege it once carried. The unearned head start, the labor market shortcut, the credential as destiny. What survives is more conditional and more honest. Graduates from 2022 who completed internships were 23% more likely to secure full-time employment within 6 months of graduating. That figure carries a quiet truth. Real-world experience now creates more differentiation than academic content alone. The degree opens the door. What you carried into it determines whether you can walk through. The human skills that AI still cannot replicate. Genuine communication, creative problem solving, emotional intelligence, the ability to navigate ambiguity are becoming more valuable precisely because they're harder to automate. More than 63% of employers call these qualities decisive at the hiring stage. The irony is sharp. As AI grows more capable, distinctly human competency grows more scarce and more prized. By 2027, 68% of occupations will require meaningfully different skills than they do today. Around 44% of current competencies will need to be replaced or substantially updated within 5 years. Education is a 4-year event. Completed, filed, and forgotten is not a viable strategy for navigating this terrain. It has to become a continuous practice, an ongoing recalibration, not a one-time transaction. The old deal was simple: get the degree, get the job. The new deal is harder and less forgiving. Get the degree if the economics justify it, but treat it as a beginning, not an arrival. Layer it with experience, with adaptable skills, with the kind of practical credibility that no transcript can fully document. The diploma is no longer a shield, it's a starting position. What you build from there has never mattered more.